Shabbat Shalom, my friends. As you can see, I'm wearing the MGE t-shirt that we marched in last year on the Israeli Day Parade. You get a better one this year if you march with us this Sunday, 11:30 on 55th Street between 5th and 6th Avenues. Why is it so important to march? Of course, while the world is so harsh and critical of Israel, we need to show how proud and how much we love Israel. But something even deeper from this week's parsha. Parshat Bechukotai, we have what's called the Tochacha. The Tochacha is the rebuke. It's God's prophesizing, a foretelling of all the negative things that will happen to the Jewish people if we don't follow in Hashem's ways. It's not a very fun part of the Torah. There's actually a second Tochacha later on in the book of Deuteronomy as well. Now, what's the difference between this week's Parsha's rebuke and the next one in Sefer Dvarim? In this week's Parsha, we have a little silver lining. God says, V'zacharti et briti, and I will remember the covenant, and I will take you out of exile. But in the next rebuke found in Deuteronomy, no silver lining. It's all gloom and doom. What's the difference? And the Ramban, the great Nachmanides, suggested that this week's Torah reading is alluding to the destruction of the first temple by the Babylonians in 586 BCE, and the next Tochacha found at the end of the Torah, the one without the silver lining, well, that's referring to the destruction of the second temple by the Romans in 70 CE. And what was the difference between those two destructions? Well, we know that the first temple destruction, it was rebuilt 70 years later. And that's why you've got that silver lining, phrase in there, V'zacharti et briti. God says, yes, all these terrible things, God forbid, may happen, but I'm going to remember the covenant. I'm going to take you out of exile. And indeed, 70 years after the destruction of the first temple and the exile of the Jewish people, we all came back. But what about the second temple? The destruction of the second temple, we're still suffering from that. We've never rebuilt that temple. We don't have a third temple. It still lays in ruin. Yes, we have a state and we have Israel, and more than half the Jewish people are living in Israel today. So we live in miraculous times, but not messianic times. Because the next Geula, the next redemption, can only happen when we ourselves get up and do something. First Chief Rabbi of Israel, Rabbi Abraham Isaac Cook, said, why do we have to open up the door at our Seder for Elijah the prophet? Elijah the prophet somehow can figure out how to stay alive all these years. He can figure out a way of getting into our homes. We have to get up from the table, open up the door. Cook explained it's because for the next Geula, for the next redemption, to rebuild the second temple with the third, we have to get up and do something. God isn't going to do it for us. God said after the first temple, I'm going to redeem you. He didn't say that after the second. That's for us to do. That's for us to go to Israel. It's to volunteer. It's to support. It's to march down Fifth Avenue and tell the world why we love Israel and how we are so proud of her amazing, amazing soldiers. Very important year to march this year, but it's a deeper concept of doing everything that we can to not only protect Am Yisrael, but to bring Am Yisrael closer to the Messianic era, so that Medinat Yisrael, so that the state of Israel could be transformed into something even greater. That's my bracha to all of us. We show up on Sunday to march. We come and volunteer in Israel. You can join MJE the last week in July. It's going to be an amazing trip. Other opportunities to get involved. Don't just be on the sidelines watching the news unfold, watching the doom and gloom, scrolling down our Facebook feeds or Instagram. Let's do something positive. Let's show our love. Join us on Sunday. Shabbat Shalom.